Namaste, Hamisha Pushpapedia. I am JVN Dr. Minakshi, Assistant Professor in Department of Shalakya Tantra, Faculty of Ayurvedic Science, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University. Today in this session, we will discuss the clinical picture of the bacterial corneal ulcer. In the previous sessions, we have discussed the pathology of the localized corneal ulcer, pathology of the perforated corneal ulcer, and now we'll discuss the clinical picture. In bacterial infections, the outcome depends upon the virulence of the organism, toxins and enzymes, and the response of the host tissue. So, broadly, bacterial corneal ulcer may manifest as the purulent corneal ulcer without hypopyon or the hypopyon corneal ulcer. In general, the following symptoms and signs may be present. First, the pain and foreign body sensation occurs due to the mechanical effects of lids and the chemical effects of toxins on the exposed nerve endings. Watering from the eye occurs due to the reflex hyperlacrimation. Photophobia, the intolerance to light, results from the stimulation of nerve endings. Blurred vision results from the corneal haze. Redness of eyes occurs due to the congestion of circumcorneal vessels. Then the signs of the bacterial corneal ulcer. The lids are swollen, marked blepharospasm may be there, and conjunctiva is chemosed and shows the conjunctival hyperemia and ciliary congestion. Corneal ulcer occurs usually starts as an epithelial defect associated with grayish white circumscribed infiltrate seen in the early stage. Soon the epithelial defect and infiltrate enlarges and stromal edema develops. A well-established bacterial ulcer is characterized by yellowish white area of ulcer which may be oval or irregular in shape. Here is the image of the bacterial corneal ulcer without hypopyon. The margins of the ulcer are swollen and overhanging. The floor of the ulcer is covered by necrotic material and stromal edema is present surrounding the ulcer area. Then the characteristic features produced by some of the causative bacteria are as follows. The Staphylococcal aureus and the Streptococcus pneumonia usually produce an oval yellowish white densely opaque ulcer which is surrounded by relatively clear cornea. The Pseudomonas species usually produce an irregular sharp ulcer with thick greenish mucopolluent exudate, diffuse liquefactive necrosis, and semi-opaque, like the ground glass surrounding cornea. Such ulcers spread very rapidly and may even perforate within 48 to 72 hours. Then another bacteria is the Enterobacteria E. coli, the Proteus species and Flaxella species, usually produce a shallow ulcer with grayish-white pleomorphic separation and diffuse stromal opalescence. The endotoxins produced by these gram-negative bacilli may produce ring-shaped corneal infiltrate. The anterior chamber may or may not show pus, the hypopyon. In bacterial corneal ulcers, the hypopyon remains sterile, so as long as the Descemet's membrane is intact. Iris may be slightly muddy in color. Pupil may be small due to associated toxin-induced iritis. Intraocular pressure may sometimes be raised. It will lead to the inflammatory glaucoma. So, next we will discuss the hypopyon corneal ulcer. What is the etiopathogenesis of the hypopyon corneal ulcer? First, we should know the causative organisms. Many pyogenic organisms, which means the organisms which produces the pus, they like staphylococci, streptococci,
Gonococci, Moraxella may produce hypopyon, but by far the most dangerous are the Pseudomonas cyathina and the pneumococcus. Thus, any corneal ulcer may be associated with hypopyon. However, it is customary to reserve the term hypopyon corneal ulcer for the characteristic ulcer caused by pneumococcus and the term corneal ulcer with hypopyon for the ulcers associated with hypopyon due to other causes. The characteristic hypopyon corneal ulcer caused by pneumococcus is called the ulcus serpens. The source of infection for pneumococcal infection is usually the chronic dacryocystitis. The factors predisposing to the development of hypopyon. The two main factors which predispose to the development of hypopyon in a patient with corneal ulcer are the virulence of the infecting organism and the resistance of the tissues. Hence, the hypopyon ulcers are much more common in old, debilitated, or alcoholic subjects. Then the mechanism of development of the corneal ulcer is often associated with some iritis owing to diffusion of bacterial toxins. When the iritis is severe, the outpouring of leukocytes from the lymph vessels is so great that these cells gravitate to the bottom of the anterior chamber to form a hypopyon. Thus, it is important to note that the hypopyon is sterile since the outpouring of the polymorphonuclear cells is due to the toxins and not due to actual invasion by bacteria. Once the ulcerative process is controlled, the hypopyon is absorbed. Then the clinical features of the hypopyon corneal ulcer. Symptoms are the same as described above for the bacterial corneal ulcer. However, it is important to note that during the initial stage of ulcus serpens, there is remarkably little pain. As a result, the treatment is often unduly delayed. Then the signs of the hypopyon corneal ulcer. In general, the signs are same as described above for the bacterial ulcer. The typical features of ulcus serpens are ulcus serpens is a grayish white or the yellowish disc shaped ulcer occurring near the center of the cornea. The ulcer has a tendency to creep over the cornea in a serpiginous fashion. One edge of the ulcer along which the ulcer spreads shows more infiltration. The other side of the ulcer may be undergoing simultaneous cicatrization and the edges may be covered with fresh epithelium. The violent iridocyclitis is commonly associated with a definite hypopyon, and hypopyon increases in size very rapidly and often results in secondary glaucoma. The ulcer spreads rapidly and has a great tendency for early perforation. Here is an image of the hypopyon or corneal ulcer. The upper was the diagrammatic representation of the hypopyon corneal ulcer. Then the next is the clinical picture. Then we comes to the management of the hypopyon corneal ulcer. The management of hypopyon corneal ulcer is same as other bacterial corneal ulcer. Special points which need to be considered are the secondary glaucoma and the source of infection. So secondary glaucoma should be anticipated and treated with 0.5% timolol maleate, BID eye drops and oral acetazolamide. The source of infection, that is the chronic dacryocystitis, if detected, should be treated by dacryocystectomy. Then the complications of the corneal ulcer. The complications can be toxic iridocyclitis. It is usually associated with cases of pulmonary corneal ulcer due to absorption of the toxins in the anterior chamber. Then second is the secondary glaucoma. It occurs due to fibrinous exudates blocking the angle of anterior chamber. It will lead to the inflammatory glaucoma. Then third is the desmetocele. Some ulcers caused by virulent organisms extend rapidly up to the Descemet's membrane, which gives a great resistance. But due to the effect of intraocular pressure, it herniates as a transparent vesicle called the descemetocele or keratocele. This is a sign of impending perforation and is usually associated with the severe pain. The next is the perforation of corneal ulcer. Sudden strain due to cough, sneezing, or spasm of orbicularis muscle may convert the impending perforation into the actual perforation. Following the perforation, immediately pain is decreased and the patient feels some hot fluid or the aqueous coming out of eyes. Then there is a sequel of corneal perforation, which include the prolapse of iris. It occurs immediately following the perforation in a bid to plug it. Then second is the subluxation or anterior dislocation of lens may occur due to sudden stretching and rupture of zonules, which are the suspensory ligaments. Then anterior capsular cataract. It is formed when the lens comes in contact with the ulcer following a perforation in the pupillary area. Then corneal fistula. It is formed when the perforation in the pupillary area is not plugged by iris and is lined by epithelium which gives way repeatedly. There occurs continuous leak of aqueous through the fistula. The next is the purulent uveitis, endophthalmitis, or even panophthalmitis may develop due to the spread of intraocular infection. The next is the intraocular hemorrhage in the form of either vitreous hemorrhage or expulsive choroidal hemorrhage may occur in some patients due to sudden lowering of the intraocular pressure. Then fifth complication is the corneal scarring. It is the usual end result of healed corneal ulcer. Corneal scarring leads to permanent visual impairment ranging from slight blurring to total blindness. Depending upon the clinical course of ulcer, corneal ulcer noted may be nebula, corneal scar may be nebula, macula, leucoma, ectatic cicatrix or cryptasia, adherent leukoma or angiostaphylloma. So the session completes here. Thank you so much. This session is powered by digital version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you so much.